I was watching the Power Spike, the Power Spike episode, and you saw the Kometo tweet. Yeah, I found this mega weird, by the way. Actually, we can talk about this briefly. So for those that don't know, there was this tweet, it's translated here, but there was this tweet after the Vladi situation. If you don't know what happened, Vladi called out the fan base. He said, even though I'm playing for KC, I've never seen a fan base like the majority of the fan base is the worst I've ever seen. He said something like this. And after that, KC fans were obviously super mad. And then Kometo tweeted, I called Vladi earlier and we were able to talk about what happened yesterday. Instead of like admitting that there might be some truth between the cancer that KC fans have been giving towards Vladi, and obviously Vladi has not been playing as well as he was in winter, and KC fans were completely flaming him because of the fact that he didn't look great on, you know, some of the games that he played, or in some of the games that he played. He reacted, and so he typed this in Twitch chat, right? Then Kometo says he reacted in the heat of the moment because of the messages in his Twitch chat, but he's aware of all the positive messages he's received in the past and the support he gets from the fan base, and he wanted to apologize for expressing himself clumsily. How crazy is it that Kometo's tweeting that Vladi wants to apologize? Like, Kometo, the owner of the team, goes to Vladi and talks to him, and then he says Vladi was reacting in the heat of the moment, but he's aware of all the positive messages he received, and he wanted to apologize for this. Not Vladi apologizing. Kometo saying that Vladi wanted to apologize. We recommended that he step away from social media and focus on the end of the season. Now let's all move forward together, support the team, and aim for that Worlds qualification. So he says this. Now, people are going to say Vladi did end up apologizing. If people don't know what ended up happening, this is actually the progression. Vladi says that the fan base is some of the worst that he's seen. And then after this, coincidentally, right after he says this, people start digging and they uncover a screenshot of him saying a slur in solo queue like 3 years ago. I think like 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, something like that. He said the F slur in a game. So then Vladi says, hey, there was a screenshot that is resurfaced. By the way, I'm sorry for saying those words. Like, I shouldn't have said that. And then he apologized for what he said towards the KC fans. Why do you think he's apologizing, bro? Like, why do you think it's because he said something and then people started like digging in and they're trying to like find things that could potentially cancel him, and he's like, okay, bro, okay, man, I'm sorry, whatever. I feel like there needs to be some accountability for the fan base being ridiculous. Like, there's a huge us versus them mentality with the KC fan base. I said this on FaceCheck, but what I said was that there is simultaneously one of the most toxic fan bases that harasses and death threats people more than any other fan base that we've seen besides for maybe MKOI and T1. It's close. I think most people would agree that KC is generally one of the worst when it comes to that. Like, massive amounts of like death threats, hatred whenever somebody does something wrong. Just look at the harassment Linkus received when he decided to join Vitality. So simultaneously, they have one of the most toxic fan bases that will harass people in ridiculous ways. But then on the other side of things, they also have this huge victimhood complex within KC where it's everyone against them and they're always the ones that are receiving the unfair treatment and no one really understands them. They're consistently oppressed and there's all these issues, but they need to stick together because that's what's going to make them as strong as possible. So it's very fucking weird from the outside. And especially seeing a tweet like this, I really don't like this tweet, because if Vladi actually thinks what he said was wrong, then he should apologize for it. But I doubt that what he believes, like, obviously I can't know what's in Vladi's mind, but I would doubt that when he says this, and this is something that's expressed from everyone outside of the KC fan base, holds this opinion that KC fans are extremely ridiculous with the amount of like hatred that they throw around on social media. People will see this, and instead of it being like, oh, Vladi actually thinks that what he said was wrong, it's like then he starts getting attacked. People are trying to cancel him. Obviously, if you say slurs, you could potentially get banned by Riot. So maybe he gets suspended, looked into. Like, this type of stuff starts happening towards Vladi, and then he ends up apologizing because he just doesn't want more shit to happen that ruins his career. That doesn't mean that he actually feels sorry for what he said or what that he believes what he said was wrong. Like, that's not what that actually means. So it's just such a weird situation. But yeah, man, like, you go and you read the tweets like in response to Vladi. It's like now the people that have done ridiculous things or said horrible things about Vladi will respond like, okay, man, it's fine. We forgive you. It's like, we forgive Vladi for what he said. What about all the mentally ill hatred that we have towards him? What about that? It just doesn't matter? Just, okay. Yeah, I guess it's just fine. You know, like, it's not their fault at all. It's all on the player reacting to that type of negative feedback. When, by the way, I mean, Vladi was the main reason why this team won a title, right? He was the star of this team. He was the best player on KC When they ended up winning the title, he was the best player on KC at first stand. He was the star of that team when they were winning, right? Everyone was hyping Kalist, but Vladi was the best player on the team. He was the one putting in the work. He was the one that went into God mode when they ended up winning. And the treatment of him has just been terrible. Like, considering who he is. So yeah, I don't know. Meadow never admitted what his fans were doing to Dom. He only made a statement when they started going for cage roll, and that too was a nothing burger. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, pretty much every person who's a big personality in the West has received, in esports, has received some hatred from KC fans. Whether it's me, whether it's cage roll, whether it's LS, whether it's Shakarez, who was just releasing content like pop quizzes and stuff. People hated him for that. You know, everyone gets some level of ridiculous hatred from KC. But that's everyone else's problem. It has nothing to do with the culture that's been curated for KC. KC fan son or T1 fan daughter? I think it's a vasectomy angle, bro. I think I'm getting a vasectomy.